welcome to this segment of Yavapai Speaks. I'm Lyle Rapacki, your host. I'm really excited about our guest today. I know I say that every week, but I'm going to tell you something. I'm very excited about this guest, Michelle Burchill. She is the county recorder for Yavapai County. And in just a second, when I say hi to Michelle, I'll let her know. Michelle, not only do we have people from all over Yavapai County, but also Arizona, but also North Carolina, Georgia, and other places because they log on to Prescott E-News. So ladies and gentlemen, just log on to Prescott E-News. You'll see the show, Yavapai Speaks, and you'll see our special guest today. She's also very special because I've gotten a chance to know her a bit over the last year and a half, and we're going to talk about a little bit of that. She has come into Yavapai County, became the recorder, and she has gone to work to make sure our election system is integrous. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, she has done so. So Michelle, thank you. You're right in the middle of election season. Ballots have been dropped. People are coming in. The whole thing's happening. And it ends this Tuesday. We're recording on Friday and it ends Tuesday. So thanks for taking a few minutes out of your busy schedule.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm very honored to have you. Michelle, when I first met you a year and a half ago, I remember we went through a couple of meetings where you were absolutely pulling apart the election process up here, every little phase of it, to make certain that come this election, there would be nothing but integrity. How'd you do? What'd you think?
Well, so far, so good. I mean, I just feel like since I've gotten into the election process, and from probably hearing me speak, I've always been very open that I've come into this role as an election skeptic. I was very skeptical of what I saw and hear and what I experienced as a voter for a couple election cycles. And I just said, somehow, some way, I will work in elections and I'm going to figure out what the problem is and I'm going to be the one to fix it. And I've been, since March 17th of 2020 is the day I started in Yavapai County in the elections world. And I've been through every process from voter registration to the election side. It is two different departments, two different responsibilities. And then I was appointed as the county recorder in 2022. And my whole philosophy is, where can I continue to make the process more transparent to my voters? Because we see and hear so much on the internet and on social media and on the news, and people don't realize how different the process is from one state to another, and even from one county to another. And I appreciate that. I like it to be local control because what I deal with in my demographic and, everything happening here in Yavapai is going to be a lot different than what it is in, say, a big metropolitan area. And transparency and accountability. If we do something wrong, if I do something wrong, if something happens during the election cycle, I feel it's important to let my voters know this is what's going on, this is what happened, and to have some accountability for it, because I think that goes a long way when we see and hear things that happen and we get told there's nothing to see here, or, you're taking it, you're making it bigger than it is. And I feel like everything is big when it comes to elections, because one voter being disenfranchised or turned away or not having that vote counted, it's important because we know every vote really does count, and especially this year.
Well, and I know for a fact that you are very candid. You're very transparent, and you're also very dedicated to making certain that our fellow citizens, your fellow citizens, are heard by the voting ballot. And ladies and gentlemen, that's not some political speech. I've listened to this lady privately, in meetings, and I've seen her publicly speak, and she's consistent. She's not politically correct. Trust me, she's very straightforward. She's let you wonder with that one, but she's very straightforward. But I'm going to tell you, she's very dedicated to making sure every ballot is counted. and we don't have the ridiculousness that has been reported across this nation. Michelle, let me ask you this question here that just came in today, maybe an hour ago. As of April, there were 35,273 registered voters in Arizona. I know that's a little bit outside your purview, but in Arizona, who had failed to provide proof of their citizenship. Is that a problem in Yavapai County? Have you run into that?
So we're talking about what we consider federal-only voters.
Yeah.
In Yavapai County, our quarterly report that was put up July 1st, we had approximately 200 federal-only voters. As of yesterday, because I watched that number very closely, we were at, I think, 186. And the reason it changes is if, let's say, you move here from California and you're in the process of moving, but you're excited to come here and get registered to vote, and you haven't got an Arizona ID, right? So when you go and get an Arizona ID or driver's license, you have to show your proof of citizenship. You got to take your birth certificate or whatever that is. If you come with a California ID into my office and you register to vote, California is not connected to our system. So we don't know what proof of citizenship you've given to the state of California. So when you come here, if you haven't come with that DPOC, we call it, documented proof of citizenship, we can register you. By law, we have to register you, but we register you as a federal voter because federal law says that if you attest on that form that you are a legal citizen of the United States and you're over 18, that you are attesting on that form that you are a federal voter, right? But we're going to let you know, and or if it came through the mail, we're going to send you a letter saying, hey, this is Michelle Burchill, and we have you registered as a federal only voter, which means you're not going to be able to vote in state and local races because that's the law in Arizona. But if you can get us your proof of citizenship, we will make you a full ballot voter. So that number changes quite frequently because people do get us that information. They're going to send us that information. Again, Yavapai votes. In Yavapai, we have engaged voters, and they want to have a say on what happens, not only on the national level, but on the state and local level. So the list is changing. It's fluid, but it's always kind of hovered around that 180 in Yavapai. It's something that we pay attention to, obviously, with, the situations on the border. My eyes and ears are open. We're paying attention to that. And our whole intent is we want to prove that you're a citizen. We want you to prove it because we want you to have a say in the community that you're living in. So we will use every avenue possible to make sure you get the information, to get it back to us. And if we come across somebody that we find is not a citizen, I will immediately be reporting that because we don't want to have anything that jeopardizes our roles or your vote here in Yavapai.
Now, we started voting in Yavapai County, Arizona on July 3rd. Ballots were mailed out. And you can no longer mail ballots in. You have to go personally in. And the last day is Tuesday, August 3rd. All right, so we're on Friday right now. So it's
July 30th.
Say again?
Tuesday, July 30th. You said Tuesday, August 3rd.
It's my show. I get to say what I want. But you're right. You've upstaged me, Michelle. Okay, so we're pretty far along in the electoral process. And from your estimation right now, working this, how many ballots have already been returned? How many people are capable of voting in Yavapai County? And how many have, and I don't need an exact number, but like 60% have already voted, 30%, 80%? What's your guess?
So right now we have 160,000 eligible active voters right now in Yavapai. This is a primary, so we won't see as high of a turnout as a general election as we expected November, of course. But as of last night, we do a tally every night of what we've received in our office. We share that information with all the political parties, and we're putting it out on our social media. As of last night, we had received in my possession 50,663 ballots. Now, that's a fluid number. So as of today, I walked in and checked with my staff a little while ago, and we had a little over 2,000 back today from the post office and drop boxes, and we will expect to see probably a few thousand more today. Today is the last day for voting early in person, so we'll see that number go up. As of last night, we had 1,261 in-person early voters. So Yavapai is moving right along. We expect to have the highest voter turnout in the state because we do consecutively. If we compare this to the 2020 election, ballots cast for the 2020 primary, we had a total of 77,794 ballots. So we're on track to be there before the end of Tuesday evening. I'm sure we'll bypass it.
So Tuesday evening is the last, or Tuesday at 5 o'clock, as my co-host corrected me.
Come on, Lyle, get it right. Tuesday, 7 p.m. You have to be in line. It's got to be in a Dropbox or in my possession.
Well, Ms. Burchill, I've already voted, so I won't be in line, but thank you. I'll switch. Yeah, you come over here and host this, and I'll go over there, and you'll do better than I will, I'm sure. Do you think there will be a major increase come Tuesday? In other words, a flux, or it's your guess. It's your guess, but
yeah, I think we will see a decent amount of people vote on election day, but we'll see our last big push over this weekend. So we have people out at all of our drop boxes today, all of our early voting sites today. Monday, we will send teams out again. And then, of course, on Tuesday, we have people that are going to straggle and wait till last minute, of course. And then we're going to still have probably a big push of ballots coming through the post office, because Tuesday was the last day to mail. And as everybody knows, in our rural area, all those ballots go down to Phoenix for processing and then back up here to our local post office. So we'll see several thousand. I'm probably thinking realistically another 10,000 come through those avenues, and then we'll see a pretty big push on election day.
Now, one of the issues, debates, arguments, you can pick the adjective, when you came into office, and it wasn't pointed at you, it was nationwide, was the Dropbox controversy. What steps have you taken to secure the drop boxes in Yavapai County?
So this is kind of one of the big hot topics for my side of the aisle. I am a Republican, I am a conservative, but I am a recorder for a rural county. And I really had to assess the narrative and the pros and cons to having a physical Dropbox out there in our community. I think Yavapai County is like 8,000 square miles. We're a big county. We have a lot of rural areas, and we have a lot of weather conditions during our voting times, from monsoons to snow. I mean, we expect the unexpected. And I looked at it from the circumstance that a Dropbox, which we have 19 of them, we were the pioneers. We were the first ones in Arizona to establish these. And the birth of that actually came to help the ADA community, create a way for somebody to drive up and drop off a ballot rather than have to get out and go upstairs or whatever the circumstances. And I've looked at every side of this, and if I were to get rid of those 19 drop boxes, I have 59 blue USPS boxes out there all over the community and thousands of individual mailboxes. And I'm all about chain of custody. I want to know from the time you vote that ballot, whose hands touched it. I'm not going to know that when you put it in your post office box. I'm not going to know that if you drop it in a blue USPS box that's on every corner. I don't know your political affiliations of your mail carriers. I don't know the truck drivers that take it to Phoenix. I don't know the people operating the Phoenix Mail Processing Center. And I am not saying that there's anything wrong or anything to be concerned of with the post office. I am saying your ballot is worth more than money in my eyes, and I wouldn't send money through the USPS anymore. And I want to know who touched your ballot. And the only way I can do that, as long as vote by mail is a thing, if you put it in a Dropbox, I know the two people that went, they're my employees that have been background checked. I know their political affiliations. I know when, where, what time, the condition of that Dropbox. We have several security features in place, such as motion detected, solar lit, activated cameras, keys that are unmastered like a typical blue USPS box, fire suppression devices, very small slits. If we came across a Dropbox where we noticed something seemed tampered with, or say the 100 ballots I got from the Jerome box, all of a sudden we're getting a high rejection rate, or we notice a lot of them with the same similar handwriting, I can literally say to Sheriff Rhodes, Sheriff, I think something's wrong. I'm seeing an anomaly right now with this batch that came from this box from this day. And I know exactly whose ballots were in there. And we can literally call every single one of those voters if we had to. I don't have that ability through any other avenue besides you coming to vote in person. And looking at the stats right now, we have a good 70+% of our voters that choose the option of voting by mail. And as long as that's the option, I want to give a secure way for you to give me back your ballot.
Well, and your answer just then just proved my point about how transparent you have been since I've known you, how dedicated you are that each vote counts. And that's not a statement in your office. I mean, it's a statement, but that's more than that to you. It's a really heartfelt belief. And I've heard you speak publicly the same way that I've heard you privately. And this is, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, I'm cheering her on. You're right. I absolutely am. This is one of the reasons I wanted this lady on right during the election process, because I wanted to do everything I could to help put to rest any concerns that there would be Mickey Mouse going on in the election process in Yavapai County. And you just heard it right there. Michelle, maybe one or two more questions, then I know you've got to go and count ballots, I guess. I'm giving you a plug there. I was hoping you'd say, yeah, that was right. I have to count them myself.
Well, I wish I was in there counting ballots. I'm locked out of everything on the ballot. So again, even though nobody is primary, not running against anyone, I strongly feel that the look of something improper counts, right? We want to be transparent and, have that trust in the system. We want to walk the talk. And me being in those rooms and having access while I'm on the ballot would not show that integrity that I'm trying to make sure that voters.
I know that. Do you know if more ballots were requested this cycle than 2 years ago and 4 years ago? Has there been an increase in requests for voting?
There has been, only because there's been an increase in voters, right? So in 2020, we had 149,000 eligible voters. In 2022, it went up to 161, and now we're at 166. So along with that increase in the registered voters, we're seeing the increase, obviously, in our AVIL voters, or active early voters. The independents are aware this number is a little funky, because independents don't automatically receive a ballot. They have to do their due diligence to actually contact us or reply to a 90-day notice and tell us, I want to vote, whether with the Republicans or the Democrats, or if eligible to vote in a nonpartisan race, which would be like their city or towns. So it's always going to be lower during a primary because there's no recognized independent party with independent candidates.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very excited. I really was. And it proves she's quite a personality also, even though she corrected me on my own show, but she's quite a personality. And I know that she really stays up all night counting ballots, making sure chain of custody. I'm making that up a little bit, but what you just heard from this lady is somebody who has taken most seriously the entire process of voting. And it was not just a job for her. It's a calling, it's a passion. And she's doing everything she can to make sure each one of our ballots, either in person or mailed in or dropped off, is counted, and that there's no duplications and there's no shenanigans going on. And I was very excited that I could snag her for a few minutes. This is the voting season. She's in her office and things are happening. So I really appreciate her. And I hope you just enjoyed listening to the recorder who's taking this most seriously. I know, and she won't talk about it, but I know other recorders in Arizona and across the nation are watching what she has done to change the electoral security in Yavapai County, and they want to copy what she has done. So I'm very excited. Thank you, Michelle, for taking time out. How about a closing thought? Anything you would like to share besides correcting me again?
The best thing that I can say is, if you are a voter, particularly in Yavapai or in Arizona, there are ways for you to track your ballot and to ensure that your vote has been counted and accepted. If you want to watch what happens, watch the magic on election night, or even right now, just watch paint dry, go to yavapaivotes.gov. You can see what we're doing. Come down here to our office on Fair Street. That's where the magic happens. I go out every day. Anybody that is out there that's observing, I'm talking to them, answering the questions. Yeah. We will answer the phone. Go to my.arizona.vote. Check the status of your early ballot. If it shows it's been received, that means it's in my possession. Make sure, trust but verify, right? And if you see something, feel comfortable to say something. I just saw on Nextdoor last night, somebody had put, I received a second ballot in the mail and I had already turned mine in. And I said, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. I checked his information this morning and he did not receive a second ballot. I called him. I put a post on his post and said, hey, call me. And he did. And he apologized and said, I'm so sorry. This was my wife's ballot. And there was a letter in it saying she didn't sign her affidavit envelope. So again, you might see things, you might hear things. I'm paying attention. I'm reaching out to these voters. I'm correcting things. If there is something, you will hear it from me. I will take accountability for it. But if there's something I can fix, I will be the one to do that. I will be the one following up, and I will be the one answering the phone if you have a concern.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's true. I mean it. I really do. You can call County Recorder, Yavapai County. She's going to answer the phone. She has staff, but she'll get on the phone if she needs to, and she's not afraid to meet with you. And I'm so glad you did this, Michelle. She's this way. So you're looking at a real servant leader here. You're looking at somebody who really, really does sincerely care about all of us. And so thank you. Michelle Burchill has been my guest on this segment of Yavapai Speaks, and I hope you've really enjoyed meeting an elected official who's working and believes in working for us, we the people. It's not just a statement that she goes by, she really lives it. So Michelle, thank you. I do know, all kidding aside, you're being pulled in 100 different directions, and thanks for taking time out to spend with us. I'm Lyle Rapacki, and this has been just a delight for Yavapai Speaks today. I hope you're enjoying the show. But we're still rather new, but each week we're increasing, and the letters and the numbers that are coming in show that you're beginning to watch this and take it seriously. So I'm glad Michelle took some time out and you got to meet her personally today. On behalf of Ms. Burchill, I'm Lyle Rapacki, and this is Yavapai Speaks.